Hey, how many crabs were in the pot? Weren't there 5? Because there's only 4 now, and I don't know where the other one went. Have you seen it? Oh, never mind. I think I found it. You guys want to do a fun activity on Oak Island? You want to take your kids out? Take them out crabbing. All it costs you is a string and a chicken neck, and you can keep them busy for hours, I'm telling you, or at least for like a half an hour. And hey, then when you're done, you might have a whole pot full of crabs. You can go home and cook them up and eat them. They're really good. The one thing I'm going to say about this video, I'm going to tell you a lot about crabbing, but it's for entertainment purposes only. I could say stuff that's not actually accurate because regulations change. So always check the regulations first before you go out and you do anything. Other than that, let's get out there and go fishing, or crabbing for that matter. Let's put this guy back in the pot. This is nice because it's a double decker.
Oh, yeah. Don't we already have one?
Yeah, we got one of those. That's not the kind of crab trap we need.
This one?
No, we need a little cheap one. I'll show you. So if you want to buy a crab trap, you can buy one just like this. And the rules state no license is needed to set one pot per person from a private pier or shoreline, and no buoy or identification is required. Now, if I was going to buy a crab trap, I'd buy the double stack one because the crabs go in and then they climb to the top and they really can't get out. You can also buy collapsible ones that collapse when they hit the bottom, and then when you pull them up, the traps are caught inside. But what we're going to use today is called a crab line. And this is simply a string that with a metal little weight to it that you drop down with a chicken neck on it. So we're going to go in the store and we're going to buy them right now. You can buy the chicken necks in most of these bait shops too. They sell them not for human consumption. And they also sell a variety of different crab traps, the collapsible ones you can see. You might want to pick up a net while you're there, but they're just called crab lines. And here it is right here. There's a crab line. Sea Striker has one. There's a green one here. Really, there was no difference between the green one and the white one. I bought one of each and I think it was $6. Now, if you're looking for a place to crab on Oak Island, there are several spots easy to go to. For one, you can go to the Maymore Park. That's off of Barbie. You can also go down to 40th Street near the Lookout Park. You can go up to the Nature Center, which is off of 52nd Street. You can go down to Veterans Park, which is located between 14th and 15th Street, I believe. You can also go down to the West End. There is a T-pier down on the Intracoastal. That's at the end of West Oak Island Drive. And you can also go down to the Point, and there you'd be able to just crab right from the ICW side. The first place we decided to go was the Nature Center. I thought there'll be docks there. We'll be able to get down there if we can just not trip on our net. And when we get down to the dock, we'll be able to just drop the line off. It seemed like a great idea, but the problem was it was low tide, and it was such a low tide that there was nothing but mud there. I would come back here and fish this place if the tide was high. It would have been a great idea, but it wasn't going to work for us. So then we decided, let's go over to Veterans Park on 14th Street, and the dock is there, and the pier is there, and we can obviously do it right off the pier. And I thought, this seems like a pretty good idea. There were a couple people fishing, but we weren't going to get in the way. So we're ready to crab. Let me give you a couple of step-by-step instructions here. You stand on the dock with your string and your crab neck, and you tie your crab neck to your string, and you lower it down into the water. You lower the chicken neck into the water, the crab's in the water, we're ready to go. We just have to wait for that little crab to find the chicken neck. And after a while, the crabs will come over. It usually doesn't even take that long, and they'll start to tug on the chicken neck. And now you know you're ready to pull the crab up. Pull them up really slowly and just bring them to the top of the water line. If you bring them above the water line, they will drop off, which we're about to find out is a mistake. At that point, you can just use a net, scoop underneath them, get your crab up, and you're ready to go home and start cooking. So we got our crab lines here. We had 3. This is an older one I had, and I had some frozen finger mullet I use for bait when I go for bluefish and sometimes sharks. So I thought that would make a really good bait. So we put the little frozen finger mullet on there. I personally think that fish actually make better bait than crab necks, but crab necks are so easy to get. But you can also buy these little finger mullet. They're just kind of stinky. Well, anyway, we lowered it down into the water way, way down because it was low tide. Then I got the new line with the white line on it, and the hardest part is untangling the string. It's like it's on there forever, and I'm trying to just unwind it. I finally get to the bottom, and I'm like, all right, let's throw a chicken neck on here. So I open it up, Here's my chicken necks. Like I said, these are designed for crabbing. They're sold as crabbing chicken necks, not for human consumption. And really, I'm just going to stick it right through the middle, pop it through there, and just tie it, because the bones kind of hold it in place. It doesn't really fall off. The fish tends to fall off more, but the chicken neck's down pretty good. Also, a good thing would be to tie it on. If you don't tie on your string, as we find out later, sometimes you can lose one of your lines into the water. So tie off your lines. Here I'm going to put on another little finger mullet. I had 2 finger mullet pieces. I had plenty of chicken necks, so we'll come back for those. I'm sticking it through the mouth and then through the gills, because that's the hardest part. The head is the hardest part of the fish, and the rest of the meat's pretty soft. So lower that one down, tie that one off onto the dock, and we're ready to go. And we did get some crabs at Veterans Park, but the problem was it was low tide. So as we pulled them up, as soon as they got to the top of the water line, they dropped off. Right there, he just dropped off. We had one on, he dropped off. And here's one on the other line, and he's pulling them up, and he's got them right to the top, and then poof, he drops off. So we had to regroup. And regroup we did by going to Seaside Mermaid. Ice cream and coffee. If you haven't been here, it's pretty much across the street from the Food Lion, just up there a little bit, and it's kind of a big building, but it's on the left side of the building. And I couldn't believe when I walked in all the stuff they had. Look at these chocolate chip cream filled, oatmeal raisin cream filled, sodas, drinks, and even crazy hats for your wife. They had cotton candy ice cream, and I can tell you my man here had his eyes set for that. Even though the store was filled with so many goodies, all this saltwater taffy here in all the different buckets. Then there was a display case filled with just different chocolates. I'm telling you, I couldn't get out of this store without getting diabetes. I don't even have a sweet tooth, and this place was making me like, I want to eat some of this stuff. But I'm like, no, I just came in for a coffee. So I'll let the man get his ice cream, and we'll get a coffee. Wait, the donuts! How can you not want a donut with Fruit Loops on top? Fruit Loops. No, there's the coffee. Stick to the plan. Get the coffee. But there's muffins and cream filled. Oh, look, back to the ice cream. Just get the ice cream. It's cotton candy ice cream. And I was like, you want 1 scoop? He was like, I want 3 scoops. And then she started scooping. And this was the scoop. And I was like, dude, how about like 2 scoops? And he was like, yeah, maybe 2 scoops. Can't go crabbing without coffee. It's coffee, if you don't know. See, I'm from New York.
Wait, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, I got ice cream in my hat.
How did you get ice cream in your hat?
Oh my God. I think, my goodness.
Uh-oh. Ah! It's getting away. I got a towel in the car if it helps. I'm gonna have to get the towel. So we headed down to Davis Canal, and remember I said there's an advantage to tying the rope onto something? Oh no! It's gone. Yeah, so that crab line is gone. It's out there in the middle of the Davis Canal. But it wasn't too long before we started getting some crabs. We had 2 other crab lines, and so we started pulling those in nice and slow. And once we got them to shore, just taking the net and scooping them up. And we were getting some in the bucket, so that was pretty cool. Now this one's a little small. We might have to let him go. But we were getting some decent ones too, which was cool. So basically just the same process here. Throw the bait back out, let it sit there for a few minutes, and then check it. And as you started pulling it back up, real slow, once the string got just about up to the edge, you could see the crab holding on. As long as you pulled slow, they stayed hanging on. And then you just drop the net on top of them, just like this. Nice and slow, right? There you go. And then you just kind of pull them into shore. And then be careful of the pinchers. They will pinch you. So let's take a look at the difference between male and female blue crabs, because there is a difference. Now you can keep both male and female crabs as long as the carcass is over 5 inches. This right here is a male crab. If you look at the bottom underneath the crab, you will notice that little flippy part right there. It's very skinny and narrow on a male crab, and that's how you can tell it's a male. On the female, that flappy part is much wider, and that's where she stores her eggs, so that's a female. Now I will tend to throw females back if I have enough male crabs to make a decent meal with. Do you know how to cook crabs?
No, can find out though.
Liam said you were the best crab.
I thought you cooked crabs for me.
No, I do crab legs in the pot and I boil it.
Yeah,
So you never cooked crabs before?
No, I have not.
So what are we doing so far?
So we're boiling some water And I was told Old Bay seasoning inside.
If you don't have crab oil, we'll have to use Old Bay. Now, in my opinion, if you're going to boil some crabs, you should have some crab oil. And crab oil comes in lots of different forms. You got your powder version, you got liquid versions. You can even buy little packets. I have like a 5-pound bag of this Swamp Fire. But if you don't have crab oil, you can use Old Bay. So let's find some Old Bay right now. You have a lot of spices.
I cook a lot. I do cook a lot.
Always throw a little salt in. That'll be fun.
Okay, good. And I know I have Old Bay. I just have to find it. No, it must be in here.
So Sylvie did not have any Old Bay, even though she had every other spice in the world. So we went to the Dollar General. Now, we probably could have gone to the Publix and gotten some crab oil, but the Old Bay was going to do just fine. So we went down and tried to find some Old Bay, and yeah, you know what? Dollar General had some, so we got it.
We brought Old Bay. No, wrong way. Old Bay.
Old Bay. Old Bay.
Old. Is it Old Bay or old?
I don't know what does it say.
It says old.
Old Bay.
Old Bay.
Just doing it ground.
Okay.
Now we are doing
Go.
4 cups of water to 1 cup of Old Bay. These are cups, right?
I guess so.
Who's gonna do it?
I think just pour it in and be magical.
Hey, can I do it? Or not?
Let's see.
Well, it's good.
Yeah? No.
Okay.
Here.
There we go. Are you ready?
3, 2. Yeah. Oh. You must be.
So we let that cook for like 15-20 minutes. It comes out and it's ready to go. I will say we could use a little bit more Old Bay. I like to take really spicy. Now here's how you open these things up. You see the little flappy thing I was talking, by the way, this is a male. You just kind of crack that little floppy thing down and you push down, and you got to watch out. It's going to be hot if you just took it out. But if you put that down, you can separate the top shell from the bottom shell. So now I've got the top shell off. I'm going to take that top shell and I'm just going to discard it. So I've got a little bowl there. I'm just going to throw that top shell in. The next thing is you got these things right here. They're like the lungs, the little finger lungs. And you just scrape those with a fork and those come right off. So take them off on that side, take them off on the other side, and maybe any little gunky stuff you got in the middle there. Then you break it in half. And now here's where all the meat is. Underneath the bottom part, a little more green stuff, get that out. There's some shell from the bottom part and all the meat's inside there. So all you got to do is just peel back the shell a little bit, crack it off here, crack it off there, and it's going to expose all that meat underneath. And really at that point, you can kind of just suck the meat out. I'll dip it in butter, obviously. I'm going to crack it again in another quarter and just deal with like 2 little legs right there. But you can see there's plenty of meat in there. You just got to like take it and get it ready to go. So now that's going to go into the butter, and then we're going to stick it in the mouth. So here, oh, that fell apart. That's okay. We just pick it out. And these guys here, you can just break them off,
Do you want
and the meat will come out like that.
Lemon.
Lemon. That gets dipped in the butter. Yep, and then just use the crackers on the rest of it. Crack that right open like you're doing. Leave it in there.